Meet with the industry, the trade. We met with the Chennai Tourism Board. We met with the tour operators, and we ran some workshops on South Africa. And it's yielded and given us a very high return. If you look at our arrivals, South Africa is 200% up in terms of arrivals from India. And this is good news for us. That means our arrivals have increased, but more important for me to announce is that Chennai is the third largest source market for South Africa. This is good. It means we're getting some good traction out of Chennai. Chennai travelers are really starting to pick up, and we expect an increase in terms of arrivals from Chennai. And I think our partnerships with the various airlines like Ethiopian Airways is really starting to yield good results. Of this increase from Chennai, it's also important to note that 56% of our travelers out of Chennai is MICE. So it means it's very good business for us. It's the corporates, incentives in particular, and the 16% is coming from leisure and from friends visiting relatives. What does this mean for us in 2022? On the arrivals that we have and the targets that we have for 2023, we have to increase our arrivals by 73%. Sounds steep, but I think it's doable. And why do I think it's doable? Because the Indian arrivals are showing us that India has fallen in love with South Africa. It's telling us that South Africa is very palatable for the Indian traveler. And the 35% increase of MICE from setting the 35% target that we have, I think we are being modest. I think that we're going to see more MICE, and particularly incentive, coming out of this market. We work very well with the various associations in Chennai. And I think this is also helping and contributing to us as South African tourism. So what does this mean for us? It means that we have to sustain the growth. We've moved from recovery. I think the world will always be recovering from COVID, but we're moving now to saying we need to sustain the good growth that we have, but we also have to build on it, because if we don't build, we'll be floating. So key for us is building on what the good growth that we receive from India, but particularly from Chennai. We want to take those numbers from Chennai and want to increase them, because this is surely a good story to tell, that Chennai is giving us good numbers. So what we'll do is build and sustain the travel momentum that is coming from Chennai and Greater India. What are the bookings looking like for 2023? Our forward bookings are 59% up. So between January 23 to June 2023, there's an expected increase of 59% travelers coming out of India. This is a good story for us. And you might ask why the take-up for such good numbers, why the good arrivals. I think it's important to also share with you, ladies and gentlemen, that when the chips were down, when the world was closed during COVID, I think we are the only country in the world that did not close its offices or doors to India. We refused to say no Indians. We were the only country that allowed India to travel, because we do not believe that you can ever say to somebody no because of what or who you are and where you come from. So the growth that we are witnessing is telling that there is a very strong relationship between South Africa and India. Also key and important to note is that South Africa and India are celebrating 30 years. We are celebrating 30 years of bilateral relations. And this is very interesting for us, because we're using tourism as a catalyst in terms of increasing and enhancing our relationships. When two countries come together and they share humanity, humility, exchange culture, they increase their trade and investment. It is only for the benefit for both countries. So it's a very good year for us, and we are very happy that South African tourism is in Chennai, that South Africa and India are going to increase their relationships. So the 59% forward bookings, you might ask, how are we going to make sure and effect the increased arrivals? South African Tourism India has partnered with its airline partner, African airline partner called Ethiopian Airways. We have a fare to South Africa at 42,000 rupees. And on top of the 42,000 rupees, you are going to take away another 15%, which makes the ticket to South Africa 35,000 rupees approximately, and that is including all taxes. The reason we are doing this is to ensure that we make South Africa affordable, we make South Africa accessible, ease of travel, and make sure that the traveler from Chennai, from Greater India or Pan India, has more money to spend in South Africa on themselves than on getting to South Africa. So what did we do in the last couple of weeks? We've just come out from a fantastic Satay in Greater Noida. This was fantastic for us. We have 35 to 36 exhibitors. If you go upstairs, you'll meet some of the South Africans. We've brought a diverse group of people from DMCs to tour operators to provincial or state tourism boards to experiences, zip lining, hiking trails, glamping, you name it, they are here. And we've also brought in some of our best hotels. As you know, we offer a world-class hotels facility. Following that, we then went into Delhi and we hosted an event for the consumers. One of the most important things for us as South African tourism is direct engagement with the consumers. By that, we mean bringing South Africa to India. So we brought some chefs from South Africa. We brought some drummers. We collaborated with some chefs from India to showcase South African food. And then we had a closed trade and corporate event, which was fantastic, where we invited over 350 private corporates who came across from all parts of India to Delhi, and we gave them a bit of South Africa through taste, sights, and sounds. And then we also engaged and did the same for the trade. The last thing, and I'm sure that we have them in Chennai, is that you'll see our out-of-home advertising, and they're all over Chennai. We've got a campaign called More and More, and you're probably asking, what is the importance of this more and more, or what does it mean? In the last 10 to 15 years, South Africa's only been known as a safari destination. If it is not a safari destination, wildlife destination, it's only known as Cape Town. Everybody will talk to you about Cape Town or the penguins. So one of the things that we have come up and decided to do is showcase more than the safari aspect of it, more than Cape Town, more than Table Mountain. In fact, not just Cape Town, because Cape Town is a fantastic brand for us. So we've gone in and we realized we've got over 3,000 activities in South Africa. The biggest consumer of the 3,000 activities is the Indian traveler. You are the largest consumer of South African adventure. We are the adventure capital for India or in India. So we then gone and we decided that we're going to showcase adventure in all that we do. But more important, we also decided that for us to succeed in India, as a country that is highly aspirational, a country that believes that India is great within India, we decided to use Indian faces on our advertising and showcasing South Africa. If you look at some of the pictures and the visuals, you will see some of the faces of Indian youngsters showcasing and experiencing South Africa. The reason is this, and purely because we believe this, blood is thicker than water. Indians are more convinced when an Indian does something than anybody else. And that's your patriotism that you need to pat yourself on the back for. So we took some Indians from India, two beautiful young souls, women, particular women, because we also understand the power they have when it's deciding to where to go on a destination. And we're using them across all our out of home. And so we've gone into these states and states like Chennai, in Hyderabad, we're in Mumbai, we're in Delhi, in Cochin, all these states. Then Pune, we are going to be seeing a lot of South African billboards and out of home. The last thing that we'll also be doing is we'll be going on a roadshow across India, and we'll be having engagement with the direct engagement with the private sector, which is the corporates, the MICE companies, to showcase South Africa and give them a taste of South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. What's very important for me to relay and communicate to you, Chennai is a very important state. We appreciate your business, we appreciate the tour operators, but most of all, we appreciate you as the media in terms of the coverage that you're giving us. We appreciate all the profiling that you've given. When we were here last time, we saw South Africa and being written about not only in English but in your regional language. I do not know if you know this. For every tourist that comes to South Africa from India, 12 people are given jobs, 12 people are fed, children are given hope, conviction, and faith. Tourism is not just about getting onto a flight, drinking good wine, and eating good food and having a dosa away from home. Tourism is about dignity, it's about economic impact, it's about job creation. Without you, we would be nothing. And that's why we have a saying in our language, and I say it in every single state. When we say that, umtu ngumtu ngabantu, we are who we are because of others. In this instance, we are who we are because of Chennai, and for that we are humbled and forever grateful. Thank you very much, and I'll take some questions and answers. I'm not sure if I've missed anything, Vitali. Anybody has any question? Yes.
After COVID, what kind of measures you have taken to develop the tourist?
Speak to your mic, sir.
After the COVID, what kind of measures you have taken for the tourist spots or develop the new spots in South Africa, in the older ones, and the visa process for the tourists coming into South Africa?
So for the visa, the good news is we're the fastest processing country in terms of visas, right? Our visas take between 5 to 7 days, 7 to 10 days. Okay, this is from a leisure perspective. You put in your visa in time, all the paperwork is all sorted, your visa will be coming in the minimum 7 to 10 working days. Do not count the first day that you submitted it at VFS, count the next day that it gets delivered. It's very fast. We have competitors that take 30 to 60 to 90 days of visas. This is the tourist visas. So we're very, very clear, and we understand the importance of processing those visas and making sure that people get their visas firsthand in good time so that they can travel to South Africa. On the post-COVID, in our country, you do not have to bring in your vaccination certificate. You just come to South Africa with a valid passport. Make sure that your passport meets the requirements. But what we've done together with the industry, we've gone very digital in terms of all the efforts. We did it with our South African business partners. Those are the hoteliers, the tour operators, the experiences. So we've got a very, very focused approach from a digital perspective, from checking in, making sure that you've got sanitizers, making sure that you have most hotels have got a doctor on call or a nurse on call. At this point in time, ease of traveling to South Africa is very easy. There's no requirements at this point to say you have to wear a mask. You know why? Because Indians know how to travel. They're very sophisticated. Indians travel with sanitizers. There's been a massive change in the way that travel is happening from India right now. Before, there used to be a lot of group travel into South Africa. India is very clear. They travel with their families, travel with people they trust, and they make sure that they've got travel insurance. That's the best that we can do. We are living in a times where it's no longer a pandemic, it's an endemic. So we're very conscious, lots of ventilation, lots of wild spaces. Even our offering has changed to say we now sell places that are far more open, packages that are far more sustainable, packages that are going to allow customers to be outdoor in wider open spaces. But the most important things, our hotels also understand for post-COVID that the virus sits in your body for about 21 days. We've collaborated with insurance companies where they cover and increase your insurance, the number of days that you sit in, that you stay in our country in event that you have. Therefore, our hotels have also got packages where you say, if something happens to you, we can literally isolate and allow you to feel comfortable and be at home away from home. I don't know if I've explained that, if it's enough for you, sir.
As far as the new tourist destinations.
New tourist destinations, South Africa's got 9 provinces. Most consumed provinces in South Africa is Cape Town, Kruger National Park, and Sun City. What's coming up very, very strongly in South Africa is Durban, because it's got the best, closest culinary to Indian palate, where people have Indian food, because it's home to the second largest Indian community outside India in South Africa. We have a destination called Limpopo, where 80% of the Kruger and the wildlife in our country sits in. It's right next, it's 2 hours away, 3 hours away by car from Johannesburg. It's on the other side of Limpopo. We've got another destination called Free State, right? Free State is one of the few destinations on the African continent where in June you can go skiing and see snow. And then we've also got the Northern Cape, which is the best place to do stargazing. Unknown, but very beautiful. It's got a game reserve that borders about 3 countries, and it's got the Big 5. And then obviously, lastly, we have the Eastern Cape, which is the home to Nelson Mandela. Perfect for hiking, perfect for community travel, perfect for rural travel, and perfect for social responsibility and sustainability.
Any collaboration between India and South Africa?
Sorry, sir?
Any collaboration?
Yes.
Absolutely. When we were here the last time, we met with the Chennai Tourism Board. We have a bilateral relationship that touches on tourism between South African tourism, the South African government in the tourism department, together with the tourism department in India. Is there more that can be done? Absolutely. I think this is the time and the perfect timing for us to increase our relations and collaboration between South Africa as well as in India to see how do we learn. My recommendations and where I see where is possibility is one, the culinary, the cooking aspect, because Indian people love their food and they want their dosa in the morning. They want to make sure that they get their bindi in the evening. They want their paneer as well. And they're very, very specific. And therefore, I think there's an opportunity from the culinary aspect. I think from hotel management, how we can exchange students on how do we best serve the Indian travelers. So we get hotels that are here to bring their stuff and bring South African staff to come and see how do the Indians travel. The other one from a travel perspective is the conservation. You've got the most beautiful parks in India, beautiful, beautiful parks, and we've got animals from South Africa that are coming here. How do you manage that? So it is a matter of where do we want to enhance the relationships. My view, we should be talking to the low-hanging fruits that are going to impact on the benefit, not for South Africa only, but as well to benefit India. It's got to be a mutual beneficiation process.
Do you have any packages, tourism packages?
Absolutely. You go upstairs, there are 36 people sitting there, and they'll be able to give you the best package. But the most important thing that I need you to understand, before you get to the package, the biggest cost for travel, not only to my country, any in the world, is the airline ticket. So what we've done is we've partnered up with Ethiopian Airlines. A couple of months ago, we had a partnership with Air Seychelles, and we're selling tickets at 38,000 rupees. We've got to shift the paradigm that South Africa is affordable. Show me a destination right now that can give you a ticket for 35,000 rupees. The package then comes to the accommodation, comes to the transfers, and with the current traveler from India, you got 440 million millennials, very savvy, very technically savvy, digital savvy. They are able to go online and make bookings. So we as South African Tourism, together with our airline partners, have decided it is critical, vital that we make South Africa affordable and accessible through the airspace.
How safe South Africa for the tourists?
As safe as possible. We collaborate with our Department of Security. We collaborate most importantly with the communities. Any destination to talk about safety, you've got to make it safe for your people first. If your people feel safe, if your people are included in the tourism sector, if your people are benefiting from tourism, right, they will protect it. So we are busy continuously engaging on robust conversations with communities. We are making sure that business is involved. We are using technology to make sure that every single trail of a hotspot where there's tourism, your tourism hotspot, we've got digital. So for me, the security and safety is a global challenge. It is not a South Africa challenge. It is not a Delhi challenge. It is not a Chennai challenge. It's a global challenge.